Hi, Trian. I hope you're enjoying The Boy Who Grew Dragons. We are going to continue reading it today. Dad stuck his head around my door and shouted, "Tea up, Tomas!" then headed off down the hall. I waved. "Just coming, Dad." I didn't bother telling him he didn't need to shout. He wouldn't hear me. He wears a pair of massive headphones pretty much permanently. Music is Dad's job. And his hobby, and what he does in every second between those times too. He writes music for commercials on TV, and one very low-budget film that no one's heard of, let alone seen. But I think secretly he still wants to be a rock star and imagines being discovered by some TV talent show or something. Anyway, I've got used to communicating with him mainly through rhyme. Aware that I hadn't made it anywhere near the shower, I swapped hoodies, then ducked into the bathroom and quickly stuck my head under the tap. Looking at the state of the sink after I'd finished, we'd probably be growing potatoes in there too. Meal times are interesting in our house, not because we talk about interesting things or anything like that, but because of my not yet 3-year-old sister, Lolly. In particular, watching my parents trying to feel the flying food and make sure some of it at least goes into Lolly's mouth. Plus, since it's the only time Dad doesn't wear headphones or isn't plugged into his keyboard, Mum seems to feel that she has to make the most of it by talking non-stop at about 100 miles an hour. No one could possibly process the amount of information she churns out in between mouthfuls. In fact, I'm pretty sure Dad is actually composing tunes in his head while she's talking. And the nodding Mum takes for his agreement is just keeping time. After Mum wiped up the lasagna that Lolly generously shared with the floor, she brought out dessert. She's working her way through a cookbook Nana gave her last Christmas called Great British Puddings. That night it was jam roly-poly and custard. Well, lumps of custard. The roly-poly is a bit flat, she noted, as she offered it up to us apologetically. It's meant to be a nice spiral of dough and jam, rather than a splodge. She was right. It looked as if someone had sat on it, and that wasn't unusual. Mum is a vet, you see, and although she can wrestle an uncooperative Doberman into a headcone, she can't seem to wrestle pudding ingredients into anything that resembles cake, despite all the shows she watches on TV. Of course, that could have had something to do with her leaving out half the ingredients to make it healthier. Sugar-free cake is not cake in my book, but being bombarded with shows about producing the perfect pudding, while at the same time being programmed to make sure everyone eats their bite of fruit and veg, makes desserts more difficult for Mum than the rest of us. I wanted to say something nice to make her feel better, but I'm really not great at lying. Dad was staring out of the window, humming under his breath. I needed him to step in quick before I blurted out something that'd probably end up making Mum hurl the whole dish at the wall, which was not necessarily a bad idea. Just then, Lolly grabbed a piece and stuffed it into her mouth, and then spat it out. Mum looked horrified. We watched as Lolly picked up another piece, unravelled the dough, and happily started licking the jam out of the middle. "See, Lolly likes it," I spluttered. Mum didn't look convinced, so I dived for a piece and started making what I hoped were believable yummy noises. Mum sighed and just said, "Can't you call her Charlotte for once?" "But she likes being called Lollybob, don't you, Lollybob Bobbalob?" I replied, still chewing a tasteless lump of dough. Lolly giggled and stuck out 2 jammy hands to me. "See," I said, finally managing to swallow the leading bowl of dessert. It lodged in my throat, and I had to take an enormous gulp of water to get it down. Mum turned, and while she was wiping Lolly clean, I grabbed the rest of the roly-poly pudding from my bowl and stuffed it in my hoodie pocket. Thanks to my sister, I was going to be saved from eating any more. We stick together, me and Lolly, even without jam. Suddenly there was a loud thump from upstairs. Mum stared at the ceiling. Whatever's that? It's probably just Tom Tom messing with my stuff, I said. That cat is like a furry wrecking ball, Mum moaned. Go and sort out your pets, Thomas. I didn't need telling twice, not with half a roly-poly still sitting on the table staring at me menacingly. I raced upstairs. Tom Tom, come out, I said crossly as I stepped into my room. I looked around for the ginger cat, ready to give him his marching orders, but he wasn't anywhere to be seen. Then I noticed the dragon fruit wasn't where I'd left it on the desk. It was by the floor by my bed, and what's more, it had grown. Okay, 3N, I will see you tomorrow for chapter 3.